Hello, everyone, and welcome to lectionaryq. I'm Dennis Sanders, the pastor of First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ in St. Paul, Minnesota. And, wow, it is the day before Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. The Q in lectionaryq stands for questions, because that's what I kind of try to do is ask some questions, what I'm trying to do in my sermon preparation. This is what I like to try to call an occasional podcast, where I take one of the scriptures, or in this case, two of the scriptures from the Revised Common Lectionary, and reflect on them and ask some questions. I hope that this is a way to help other pastors prepare for their sermons, and it's also a way for me. This is kind of a way of me to prepare for my own sermon. And so, and I do say that this is occasional because sometimes I'm not able to do this every Sunday, being a bivocational pastor. So I always like to say that heads up that there are going to be some weeks I may not be able to do this, and don't want to get people discouraged. But I am here this Sunday. And so these are the reflections and questions for this coming Sunday, which is November 30th, 2025, which is the first Sunday of Advent. So happy New Year. And so I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different this week, in that the reflection is going to be on Romans 13, 11 through 14, and the questions are going to be on Matthew 24, 36 through 44. So I'm going to do the reflection first, which is again on Romans 13, and then we'll do the questions. So let's start with the reflection. So we're in the last days of fall, and those give way into winter. Here in Minnesota, we just had our first snowfall, which is actually unusual. It's getting into the rather late here in Minnesota. But the thing is that you become aware of how early darkness arrives. By 4 in the evening, the streetlights come on, and by an hour later, it's dark. And it's going to stay this way for many months. And it feels like daylight is fleeting, and the darkness just kind of hangs on and on and on. And in Paul's letter to the Romans, he talks about knowing what time it is, and that the night is being far gone. And you have to wonder when he says that, is it? Is the night really far gone? You look at the world today, and it's really hard to think that the night is already gone. It actually seems like the night is here and that daylight won't ever come. Our news is filled with stories of wars, and as the Bible says, rumors of wars. We hear of raids and of immigrants, and those immigrants living in fear. We see the demons of racism and anti-Semitism and sexism and other isms that we believed were once at least contained are now seemingly on the march. And as we head into Thanksgiving, we see that people of differing political persuasions can't even seem to sit at the same Thanksgiving table. So, is the night really far gone? But then Paul says, you know what time it is. He tells us that it's time to wake up because salvation is closer to us than it has ever been. And in Matthew, Jesus tells us that we don't know when the Son of Man will return, but to keep awake. The season of Advent is about keeping awake and being watchful. Now, we like to think that Advent is about waiting and preparing for Christmas, and it's about waiting for Jesus to come for Christmas. But actually, what we're waiting for is not for Jesus' arrival at Christmas. That's already happened. Actually, what we're waiting for is the second coming, when Jesus will come again to reign in glory. As I was putting this reflection together, I was thinking about the song by the rock band U2. It's a song called Lemon. It's from their 1993 album, Zeropa. During the bridge of the song, as the lead singer Bono is wailing away in a falsetto, the Edge says something over and over that has always caught my attention. Midnight is when the day begins. Midnight is when the day begins. That's when the new day starts. And yet it's still dark. When we celebrate the new year, the new year as a New Year's Day, it's dark. It's midnight. But we know that the light is coming. The night will be far gone. In the meantime, we actively wait for the light by putting on Jesus Christ, as Paul writes. And we do that by caring for our neighbors. And we gather together as a community of believers. And we share the bread and the wine and come together in the presence of Christ. So as darkness settles on the land at this time of year, we remember that the night is far gone because midnight is when the day begins. So here are the questions for the Matthew text. Question number 1. Jesus says that we will not know the day nor the hour. But throughout history, people have tried to figure out that time and hour. Why do you think that is? Question number 2. Why do you think that Jesus refers to Noah to relate to watchfulness? Question number 3. In verses 40 and 41, Jesus talks about how one will be taken and another left. In some places, people have referred to this as the rapture. But a lot of people think that's not what Jesus was talking about here. So what was he talking about? And question number 4. Read verses 45 through 51. So that's the verses after today's text in Matthew. How does this reading, which is a parable, relate to today's text? Okay, so those are the readings for today. Does the reflection and the questions bring about more questions? And I'd love to hear what your answers are to those. If you're brave enough, feel free to send me a reply, and you can do that by sending it to lectionaryq, and that's all one word, at substack.com. That is it for this episode of Lectionary Q. I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. Blessings on you as you begin this Advent season. I know, like a lot of people as a pastor, and even if you're not a pastor, if you're just a churchgoer or in the pews, or even if you are a layperson that's involved in a congregation, this is a busy time. So blessings on you in this time. I hope that you will take time during this season to really reflect on the importance of what Advent is all about. So take care, everyone. Godspeed. And I'll see you next time.